The scenery on it, and you know, this is well, right up until now, it's what we weren't sure of its real purpose, folks, and it was affectionately known as the bus shelters because obviously until now that's what they closely resembled. But we're up here for another look because it's a mystery that's been carrying on for years, folks. Nobody really knew until now, nobody really knew what the real purpose of these structures was. And I've just been having a little detailed conversation about it with Colonel EXP, and we are both 100% in agreement as to what this was now. So we're here to bust the myth, folks, and solve the riddle. Yeah, so what I'll do, I'll come around the front, and so hopefully you can see us. So first of all then, folks, I'd just like to say that we've had some help with this one, and I'd like to thank one of my viewers or subscribers, a chap called Jerry. I'd like to say thanks, Jerry, for your wonderful comment on our first Mystery Defences video, which, believe it or not, folks, believe it or not, it was 4 years ago. Well, I'm coming closer because of the wind, folks. I don't want you not to be able to hear me. But, well, thanks to Jerry, he's basically given us the answer to this long riddle, and I'm here with Kerno, and we're gonna both explain it to you, basically, folks. And now, as you can probably see, we have this fence here, folks, and we are literally right on the perimeter of RAF Portreath. And the current RAF Portreath is a RRH, which translates to remote radar head, folks. And it's basically, you can see a dome over there on the horizon there. See that white dome? That is where the modern air defence radar system is now installed. But Portreath, on the whole, RAF Portreath was a World War II fighter station. So, various bits of infrastructure on the airfield, but what we are here today to show you is what has now turned out to be a World War II firing range, folks. Yes, a firing range. So we've got the L-shaped shelters, and basically the L-shaped shelters were for targets, folks. Targets would have been attached to the top of them, and also to the right here, and approximately 200 meters that way, folks, was the firing position. Now, in case you can't hear me, we're going to go and have a better look at these shelters. It's also starting to rain quite hard now, folks, as well. So let's go and have a look at them.
Oh God, yeah, look.
Right, folks, so now one thing that does prove this was a military firing range is, folks, we've just found a bullet hole, a piece of blown away brick, folks, and no doubt there's many more. I mean, it's possible here, definitely there as well.
You reckon about here, mate? Look.
And there, yeah, that's evidence of the concrete not just crumbling, but yes.
Another one there, maybe?
Yeah, there.
It's probably too far down.
And there. Well,
yeah.
I think with bullets, once they're fired, it's kind of like
oh, there's another one here, look.
Science and the lap of the gods. Yeah, folks, that's definitely a bullet hole. Now, obviously,
mate, look.
Yeah. Without knowing this to start with, we would never have thought to have had a look, mate.
No, indeed not.
But it's yeah. So we'll
very clear now, isn't it?
a brief explanation of the shelter, folks. This shelter, apparently its purpose was for the storage of spare targets for the firing range, and also the range officer would be here, and this would be his place of refuge, folks, from the shooting, obviously. And basically he would have communicated with the firing line up there by either a flag system or a telephone, which would have been set up. So obviously, if anybody doesn't know anything about military firing ranges, basically the range officer is in charge of the range and all shooting on that particular range. So he's the man that has the power to cease fire and, you know, stop the shooting, and also the man that authorises it, and also a range officer. His job is to enforce safety. So it wasn't just him here on his Todd though, because the shelters here, there would have been a couple of servicemen in here, and their job would have been to repair all the holes blown in the targets, folks. And the targets would have been mounted on the top here and sticking out above there, and obviously when each detail of soldiers or whoever was firing had fired their rounds, the targets would be patched up and repaired with little paper squares, or I was told it was actually arrow-shaped bits of paper. And they wouldn't have been dumb enough to do this by coming out of here and standing up there. It would have been done with a pot of glue and a large pole that would have been able to patch the holes in the targets, folks. And now, one of the things we had planned to do this evening, folks, which we weren't able to, was we were hoping to get a bit of metal detecting in, folks, because it's highly likely that in this area we could easily come across either some, not so much cartridges, folks, but the rounds themselves. But we've just had a look at the back of that shelter there, and we can see clear as day that basically bullet holes, folks.
Oh, yes, without a doubt. Yeah.
Bricks and bullets, they don't survive very well, and there's been some indelible marks there from rounds, various calibre. And also we were told that it wasn't just the RAF that used the range, it was also likely the Army. So the Army would have used the firing range, and of course the RAF would have used it to test dismounted aircraft machine guns, folks. Because like everything, weapons, firearms, they need servicing, they need calibrating, and they need making sure that they are fully operational before an aircraft goes into combat. And I'm just having another peek here just to see whether or not there's anything, signs of anything in the concrete here. And it's difficult to tell, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if a lot of this holes and stuff wasn't just natural deterioration, was actually bullet holes. And you know, if you were to mash up this concrete, it's likely you would probably find a few rounds inside the concrete, that because these shelters have got extremely thick concrete reinforced walls here.
Point one thing out, which
Yeah.
I probably never noticed before, but have you noticed this is fluting out and
Yes.
that's fluting out
Yes,
for strength?
yeah, that's to provide strength. So it's highly likely that when everybody was here taking their turn on the range, folks, there would have been the butts detail. Now obviously, as a ex-cadet, and Kerno as well. He's also an ex-cadet.
Indeed.
We've shot on a military firing range, and I'm sure at some stage, Kerno, you've been sent to the butts for target pasting.
Indeed. Yes.
But the thought of actually doing it, actually, if you're exposed to any of the gunfire, it just wouldn't happen, folks. Not even back in World War II. So there would have been some guys in here that would have been literally taking refuge, waiting for each detail to shoot, and once they've shot their ammunition, the range officer would call a ceasefire, and then the targets would be either replaced or repaired and replaced up on top of here, folks. You know. Now there was quite a few red herrings that we've heard about. Apparently somebody reckoned that there was a rail system in the bottom of this trench, folks, but I don't really believe that would have been the case, because these banks are high enough as it is.
Yeah, you are sheltered from
and
fire here.
I don't really believe that whatever was on the rail, unless it was some kind of moving target for, you know, or whatever, for the larger weapons, but I think we can discount that theory, mate.
Yeah.
But it seems to me pretty obvious now, and Kerno, that what we've got here is the butts, folks.
Yes, totally agree.
Yeah,
with
the
that.
butts on a military firing range. So we'll just go down to the other shelter. Yeah, we'll just take a walk down to the other shelter and we'll just collapse that a moment. Yeah, avoid that nasty thing there, whatever that is. And yeah, it's likely exactly the same type of structure. And I was going to see if we could just...
Actually, have you noticed that it's a bit deeper?
Yes, it's a bit deeper,
Yeah,
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the trench is definitely man-made anyway.
Oh,
yeah. And I was just going to have a look to see if there was... Then, you see that concrete, the way it's made, it's unlikely that would have crumbled naturally.
You think that's been blasted?
I think it's been blasted.
Yeah.
So it's been blasted, folks. And just have a quick look at the other end. But
Adam, there's
yeah.
something, there's a mechanism here, like rebar.
There's some what, sorry?
There's some rebar here.
Oh, rebar, yeah.
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 See it just there, look?
Yeah. Bit of rebar, yeah. So these were definitely made to withstand, I would say, I would probably have not much problem with standing behind this while it was being shot at.
Oh yeah, of course. You'll be fine.
Because it's doubtful that most small arms fire would protect you. This would protect you from it. But
I don't think it'll protect you from the
no.
cow.
No, but I think it's what's worth doing is, well, we'll just go up here a moment, because it's just worth pointing out that a lot of the land has, unfortunately, it's been lost, folks, due to erosion.
Yeah.
So the butts wouldn't have been quite as close to the cliff edge. But there's just some brilliant you know, scenery up here. It's pretty amazing, and yeah, I think we're going to go back into that shelter, get a cup of tea, and then think about anything else we can add to this, because it's finally, after all these years, it's actually great to have finally found out what it is. But
these have been quite elusive for a long time.
they have for a long time, yeah. But the more we look at it,
the more it's...
then the more it is, I would say without question.
And
That's,
of course, that over there, folks, that mound over there.
yeah, the mound on the horizon.
The one to the left over there, I think that is it.
It's likely
That's
that is,
200 metres away.
yeah, it's likely that is the firing position just up there, folks. And the other good advantage of having a firing range here, and this being the butts, of course, is that any stray rounds would go out to sea, folks, harmlessly, you know. And I'm sure there would have been a flag somewhere along the coast, like most military ranges, that would have been flying high with a red flag when the shooting was taking place. But I think we need to seek refuge for a minute, mate. Yeah, definitely. Right, back in a mo. I'm just going to pick up the light for the benefit of my camera. Right then, folks, so it's a little bit of extra stuff we were talking about, and firstly was the shape of this building. Obviously, we were saying how we both agreed that it could not be, this place could not be anything other than the butts on the firing range, folks. And we've basically come to the conclusion that the shape of this building is perfect, because obviously all the shooting would have been coming from behind the camera, and the doorways here are angled to protect whoever was in here. I mean, this is obviously like a store and a refuge as well for the range officer, you know. So it's pretty important that we just point out a few things as well. And also, it's just brilliant after all these years, isn't it, to finally know what this is we're dealing with, folks, what we've got here.
Yeah, like Adam said, folks, without a shadow of doubt, this is what we said it was.
And also, one of the things we were hoping to do this evening, folks, but we weren't able to do, was Kerno's got a metal detector, and we were hoping to bring this up with us and this evening, and it's apparently gone. Yeah, it don't matter. We were hoping to bring this up this evening and do some metal detecting to try and find, not cartridges, folks, because it's unlikely there would be cartridges in this vicinity, but it would be definitely things like squished bullet heads and all kinds of other stuff like that, like fragments of rounds and stuff. And because it was used by the British Army as well as the RAF, it's likely it would have been quite a varied sort of calibre. I mean, mainly sort of 303, possibly 50 calibre as well.
That's quite a big round, isn't it?
50 cal rounds and stuff. And there's some amazingly big holes blown in the back of some of these structures here, folks.
We've managed to get some pictures, folks, so we'll put that on at the end.
And it's like we were saying, without knowing where to look, folks, without having some inkling of what the place is that we didn't know, then obviously we thought to look for bullet holes and any signs of like damage from ammunition from the range,
Yeah.
So it's great to be able to. I mean, I think I first filmed this place about 4 years ago, and the quality of the video wasn't brilliant, folks. It was with some substandard camera equipment, which I've got but I don't use anymore, and so it's nice to be able to come up here after all these years and finally solve the riddle.
We have indeed.
Great.
So I'd just like to say thank you for Adam for inviting me out tonight.
No problem. Thank you.
We've definitely documented some very interesting history. It's nice to find out exactly what this was for, because like Adam was saying, we had no idea.
No, we didn't. Honestly, didn't know, folks. But hopefully we've solved it.
Indeed.
And I think we're probably one of the only people that have, haven't we, mate?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, apart from those that already knew, like Jerry, and but it's brilliant. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, folks.
No worries.
Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Please check out Two Wheel Exploration, TWEX.
All the best.
And we'll see you again soon. So from me and Adam here on the North Cornish coast, we bid you farewell.
Farewell, folks. Take care.
Cheers.